The intake nurse wouldn't look me in the eye as she fastened the plastic bracelet around my wrist. Voluntary admission for severe depression with suicidal ideation. She read from the form my stepfather had filled out. Danger to herself. I never said I was suicidal, I protested for the 10th time. I said I was sad my mother died. There's a difference between grief and… Ms. Winters, the nurse interrupted. Your family is concerned. Your stepfather says you've been isolated, refusing to eat, talking about joining your mother. These are serious warning signs. Behind the reinforced glass, I could see Roger, my stepfather of 3 years, talking animatedly with Dr. Brennan, the psychiatrist on call. Roger's children, Tyler and Madison, sat in the waiting area, trying to look concerned while poorly hiding their excitement. I knew exactly what this was about. Mom's will reading was in 6 days. I want to speak to Dr. Morrison, I said. He's been my psychiatrist for 5 years. He can verify that I'm not. Outside doctors aren't permitted to interfere with emergency evaluations, the nurse said, guiding me toward the secure ward. The 72-hour hold has already been approved. 72 hours. Long enough to miss the will reading. Long enough for Roger to convince the lawyers that I was mentally incompetent. Long enough to steal everything my mother left me. The psychiatric ward was exactly what you'd expect. Sterile walls, locked doors, patients in various states of distress. They took my phone, my clothes, anything I could use to harm myself. I was given paper scrubs and foam slippers. This is a mistake, I told the attending physician during intake. I'm grieving, not suicidal. My stepfather is lying too. Denial is common, he said, not looking up from his chart. Your family reports you've been giving away possessions, talking about ending things, isolating yourself. My mother just died. I gave her clothes to charity. I said I wanted to end things with Roger because he's been stealing from her estate. The isolation? I was planning her funeral. But it didn't matter. Roger had painted a perfect picture of a delusional, depressed stepdaughter. The staff saw what they expected to see. What they didn't see was the name on the building. The Margaret Winters Psychiatric Wellness Center. Named after my grandmother. Funded by my family's foundation. The same foundation that had donated $50 million to this hospital over the past decade. I spent the first day playing along, attending group therapy, taking whatever medications they gave me. I needed to appear cooperative while I figured out my next move. But by evening, I overheard 2 nurses talking. The Winters girl is responding well to treatment. Dr. Brennan thinks we might need to extend beyond the 72-hour hold. Family agrees? Stepfather's already signed the paperwork. Says she's been unstable since her mother's death. Probably needs long-term care. Long-term care. They were going to keep me here indefinitely. That night, I lay in the narrow bed, staring at the ceiling tiles. Somewhere in this hospital was a bronze plaque thanking the Winters Foundation for our generous support in building a world-class psychiatric facility. My mother had cut the ribbon on this wing 2 years ago, and now I was a prisoner in it. The second day, I made my move. During art therapy. Yes, they made us do art therapy. I asked the instructor for extra paper. I want to write a letter to my family, I said, to apologize for worrying them. She smiled, pleased by this breakthrough, and gave me several sheets. But I wasn't writing to Roger. I was writing to someone who actually mattered. James, I wrote, addressing my lawyer. Asterisk, I'm being held against my will in the Winters psychiatric wing. Roger has orchestrated this to prevent me from attending Mom's will reading. Please verify my competency with Dr. Morrison and investigate Roger's financial activities. Also, please inform the hospital board that their largest donor is currently being held on a fraudulent psychiatric hold. I'm sure they'll find that interesting, asterisk. I folded the letter carefully and during lunch approached Marcus, a patient I'd noticed was getting day passes. I'll give you $1,000 to mail this letter, I whispered. His eyes widened. How do I know you're good for it? Google Winters Foundation and hospital donation. I'm Rebecca Winters. He pocketed the letter. Day 3 began like the others, medication, breakfast, group therapy. But at 10 a.m., chaos erupted. The ward doors burst open and Dr. Patricia Chun, the hospital's chief of staff, rushed in looking like she'd seen a ghost. Behind her was James Hartley, my lawyer, and 2 other men in expensive suits. Ms. Winters. Dr. Chen's face was flushed. I'm so sorry. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. Dr. Brennan appeared, looking confused. What's going on? This patient is on a psychiatric hold. This patient, Dr. Chin said through gritted teeth, is Rebecca Winters. The Rebecca Winters. As in the name on the building. As in our largest individual donor. As in the woman whose foundation keeps half this hospital running. The color drained from Dr. Brennan's face. Furthermore, James stepped forward, we have documentation showing that Mr. Roger Tompkins has been systematically stealing from the Winters estate. He's already attempted to liquidate several properties belonging to Ms. Winters while she's been involuntarily confined. I was told she was suicidal, Dr. Brennan stammered. The family said. The family, I stood up, still in my paper scrubs but with more dignity than I'd felt in days, lied. Roger needed me out of the way for the will reading. What better way than to have me committed? This is a liability nightmare, one of the suited men, clearly a hospital lawyer, muttered. Dr. Chun turned on Dr. Brennan. Did you verify the claims? Did you contact her existing psychiatrist? Did you do any due diligence before locking up our biggest benefactor? The stepfather had convincing documentation. Forged, James interrupted. We've already verified. He also failed to disclose that he has no legal authority over Ms. Winters, who is 28 years old and has never been declared incompetent. Get her belongings, Dr. Chin ordered a nurse. Now, as I changed back into my clothes, 3 days wrinkled but better than paper scrubs, James filled me in. Marcus delivered your letter yesterday. I immediately contacted the hospital board. Did you know your foundation is currently funding a new children's wing? Mom mentioned it before she died. Well, the board was very interested to learn their primary donor was being held on a fraudulent psychiatric hold. They were even more interested when I mentioned the words lawsuit, fraud, and criminal conspiracy. I emerged from the bathroom to find Roger in the hallway, in handcuffs. Rebecca. He tried to lunge toward me, but the police held him back. This is a misunderstanding. I was trying to help you. Help yourself to my inheritance, you mean. I looked at the officers. Check his car. I bet you'll find documents from my mother's estate. They did. Deeds, bank statements, investment portfolios, everything he'd need to transfer ownership while I was incompetent. Tyler and Madison were in the waiting room, looking much less excited than they had 3 days ago. Aunt Rebecca, Madison started, tears in her eyes. We didn't know. Save it, I said. You knew exactly what your father was doing. I heard you laughing about crazy Rebecca when you thought I was sedated. Dr. Chin walked me to the entrance, apologizing profusely with every step. Ms. Winters, I assure you, we will investigate how this happened. Dr. Brennan will face a full review. And of course, we'll compensate. You'll do more than that, I said. You'll implement new protocols for involuntary admissions. Mandatory verification with existing healthcare providers. Independent review boards. Real safeguards against this happening to anyone else. Of course. Anything. And Dr. Chin? I paused at the door. The Winters Foundation will be conducting a full audit of how our donations are being used. I'm particularly interested in why a doctor would accept a fraudulent commitment without basic verification. Financial incentives, perhaps? Her face went pale. I'll launch an investigation immediately. Good. James will be in touch about the civil suit. False imprisonment, medical malpractice, conspiracy to commit fraud. Please, Ms. Winters. We can resolve this. Yes, we can. With a very large settlement that will go directly to mental health advocacy groups. Groups that protect patients from being railroaded into psychiatric holds by greedy relatives. I walked out into the sunshine, free after 3 days of captivity in a building bearing my family's name. The will reading was in 3 days. Roger would be in jail. His children would get nothing. Mom had been clear about that in her will, though Roger hadn't known about the clause excluding anyone who attempted to undermine or contest the mental capacity of my daughter Rebecca. Mom always was thorough. Rebecca, James said as we reached his car. I'm sorry this happened. Your mother would be horrified. She'd be vindicated, I corrected. She never trusted Roger. Said he was too interested in the foundation, too eager to be involved in family finances. What's your next move? First, a real shower. Then, we're going to audit every transaction Roger's made in the last 3 years. I want to know every penny he's stolen, every document he's forged, every lie he's told. And the hospital? I looked back at the building. My grandmother's legacy turned into my prison. The hospital gets a choice. They can cooperate fully with reforming their commitment procedures, or the Winters Foundation finds a new beneficiary. Plenty of hospitals would love $50 million in funding. They'll cooperate. They'd better. Because right now, I'm very interested in funding mental health advocacy groups. Specifically, ones that investigate fraudulent psychiatric holds. 2 weeks later, the settlement was substantial. 8 figures, all directed to mental health advocacy. Dr. Brennan lost his license. Turned out Roger had paid him $50,000 to fast-track my commitment. The hospital implemented new procedures named, ironically, the Winters Protocol, requiring multiple independent verifications before involuntary holds. Roger got 15 years for fraud, conspiracy, and false imprisonment. His children lost the house Roger had bought with stolen funds from my mother's accounts. They tried to apologize again at the sentencing, but I was done with the Tompkins family. The will reading went smoothly. Mom had left me everything, as expected. The foundation, the estate, the responsibility of continuing our family's philanthropic work. But she'd also left a letter. My dearest Rebecca, it read. Asterisk if you're reading this, then Roger has shown his true colors. I've left provisions in place to protect you, but I know you're strong enough to protect yourself. Trust your instincts. Guard our legacy. And remember, sometimes the best revenge against those who try to paint you as crazy is to remain devastatingly sane. Asterisk. I kept the letter on my desk at the foundation, a reminder that Mom saw this coming. The Margaret Winters Psychiatric Wellness Center still stands, but with new management and new policies. No one gets committed without independent verification now. No family member can override a patient's existing medical team. And there's a new plaque in the lobby, right next to my grandmother's. In memory of all those silenced by false psychiatric holds. May this institution never again be used as a weapon against the vulnerable. Rebecca Winters, survivor. Dr. Chen calls me monthly, updating me on the reforms. She knows the foundation's funding depends on it. Ms. Winters, she said during our last call, I want you to know that what happened to you has transformed how we operate. It will never happen again. Good, I said, because I'll be watching. And unlike 3 years ago, everyone now knows exactly who I am. The danger to herself? That was never me. The real danger was a man who thought he could steal an inheritance by having me locked away. He forgot one crucial thing. Psychiatric holds are temporary, but lawsuits, and the reforms they create, last forever. And donations? Well, those can be withdrawn as easily as they're given. Something the hospital board remembers every single day.